Hello juniors and welcome back to programming. For this video, we're going to be going over how to use libraries in Python. So we've talked conceptually what is a library. Now we're actually going to use the libraries in Python. So you're going to open up Eclipse, make a new PyDev project called libraries. You can go File, New PyDev project, name it libraries and click Finish. I've already got one. Then you're going to go on to Canvas and download the libraries outline.py, and you'll finish that. You'll move that into your libraries folder, and you'll finish that as I'm going through this. So I'm going to go File, New, PyDev module. Whoops, make sure that I choose the library project folder, source, dupe, and then I'm going to name this practice because I'm just going to go through this on the side. So let's talk about the syntax. Now the structure of libraries are complicated because each library works differently, but they're also kind of the same at the same time. With research, this will all make sense. So the syntax is as followed. You import a library by typing import, that's a keyword, and then you insert the library name. So we've done one of these already. It was called random. That was the library that we used in the rock, paper, scissors project to choose a random function or a random choice for the computer. So whenever you want to use one of the functions in a library, you're going to type that same library name. Once you've imported it, you're going to do library name dot whatever the function is, and then you're going to put parentheses. Now, side note, you can also do import library name and then as, and then you can put another name. And all this does is just allows you to make the name shorter. Sometimes libraries will have crazy long names. So let's go through an example. If I did import random, I could import it as R. So then instead of typing random dot every time, I can just type R dot whatever function I want to use. So you can do that to save you a little bit of time. I suggest just using whatever the library name is, unless the library name is really crazy, because sometimes they have like characters in there that you don't use very often. So let's practice the syntax with the random library. So first, what is the random library used for? It allows us to generate random numbers, choices, and other things. So let's import the library. Import random. So we've got that done. Again, you can use the as to import it as rand, and then it's shorter, saves you a couple of keystrokes. That's good when you're trying to code a lot because sometimes your hands get tired. So now, with this library and module, we can access all the functions that the module has. So if we do random dot, it's going to show us all these different functions: rand int, random, rand range, sample, seed, set state, shuffle. There's all these different functions. Let's see if we can find the choice, random dot choice. This is the one that we used in our project for rock, paper, scissors. So let's try this rand int function. Saw it down here, rand int. And the way this works, is it generates a random number. So we can do print. Now if we run this program, it's just going to print a random integer. Oh, and actually, if you don't, it looks like you need some arguments. That's another word for parameters. So with this, I thought it would give us a random number. It doesn't. You actually need to put a high and a low. So high being a low of 4, and we'll put a high of 10. So it'll give you a number between 4 and 10, including 4 and 10. So this can give us a number between 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. So if we run it, 8, 5, 5, 7, 4, 9, 7, 9, 6. I think you get the gist. It just generates a random number for us. This random library, it also has the dot choice, which is the one that we used. And this allows us to choose a random item through an iterable object. So remember, we had those iterable objects that we talked about, lists and strings. So let's try it with a list. If we do list, and let's actually make sure that we print this out. Oops, boop, boop, boop. There we go. List equals, and then we'll do stuff and things and those. We'll just add a third one just so that there's some variety. And then we put this list in here. If we run this, it's going to choose a random one between stuff, things, and those. So those, things, those, things, those, stuff. There we go. So we've got all of them. Similarly, we can do this with string. So we can make a string equals Michael. And then we can print random.choice string. And now I'll choose a random letter from within that string. L, E, A, L, A, I, L, A, M. So it just keeps giving us those random choices. So let's review. We import a library using the library name. Then if we use as or the library name, we type that, and then we use dot and whatever functions we have. So let's go over some errors with this. Remember, an error is a bug or something that went wrong with the program. There are two types of errors: syntax errors, which means that there's a problem with this program's syntax, or logical error, which means that there's a problem with the program's logic. The syntax is what you see right here. Import the name and then the name dot function. So if you mess up one of those pieces, there will be a problem. The common syntax error is just mistyping the function / library name. So just make sure that you type the function names and the library names correctly. Some logical errors, some common ones, are forgetting to import the library. If you never import the library, all the code below it won't work because it won't have that library to access. So that's all I have to show you for libraries, just that little bit about random. With all that, you should have had enough to finish your libraries outline.py, and you'll submit that in the libraries outline activity prompt submission page right here, and you'll do it following the same GitHub submission process. Now, the rest of this module unit is a little bit different. Instead of doing drills or debug, you're going to do research. So let's open up this activity prompt. This is where you'll actually be submitting it. You'll be submitting the same website URL. And here's the actual link to the activity prompt. So what you're going to do is one of the following tasks. So here's the first option, and here's the second option, A or B. So for the first option is you're going to research random. You'll use this website that gives you all this information about all the different types of functions within random. You will find and research one function that you want to figure out. It cannot be one that we covered in class, so it can't be .choice or .randint. Any of the other ones on this website are up for grabs. You will make a library random research.py module in your library's project folder, and in that file you will write comments explaining how the functions work, or how the function works, because you're only researching one, and what it can be used for. And then you will add actual example code that shows a few ways that you can use the function. So basically what you're going to be doing for this project is writing a program manual. So see how we have these program manuals? You're going to write one for one of these functions. So you'll write a couple of comments, put some actual code in there, and so people can actually run it and see what it does. So that's the first option, is that you choose one function from random and write this library random research.py on it. The second option is you research a new library. In this option, you will research a library that we haven't taught you, and you will find one function from within that library and explain how it works. So you can use these websites. There's top 10 libraries, top 30 libraries, or you can research the libraries following, there's like a Tkinter GUI. These are from the Tutorials Point website, or there's sending emails. These are some cool ones that I've used in some of my projects. So if you want to research them, you can. Otherwise, these are up for grabs too. So you'll find a new library and you're going to research one function from within that library. You'll make a new library research.py module in your library's project folder. And in that folder, or in that file, you'll write how the function works and what it can be used for. So you only have to pick one function from one library. You don't have to explain the whole library. You just have to explain that one function. But you'll also have to add actual example code that shows a few ways that you can use the function. So you must choose one of the options, either a new library research or a function from random. You'll get a point for explaining how the function works. You'll get a point for providing an example, and you'll get a point for submitting on GitHub properly. Then you'll submit this following the same GitHub submission process, submitting a link onto the activity prompt submission page, and then you're done. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Otherwise, if you need this in a written version, we have the programming manuals that allows you to see all of this written down and go through step by step. Or you can go to W3 Schools and Tutorials Point if you don't like the way I teach. Otherwise, juniors, I will see you later.